Welcome to Psyber Conversations, the show where it's okay to agree to disagree. Today, we are going to be talking about Suicide Squad, the 2016 movie directed by David Ayer. This was the first Suicide Squad movie, not the second one, which was called The Suicide Squad, the all-important "the" at the beginning of the title. This is just Suicide Squad. 2016 starred Will Smith as Deadshot, Jared Leto as the Joker, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. And I got Bob here today with us, and we're going to be discussing what we liked and what we disliked. I don't know, Bob, do you want to say what your overall thoughts of the movie is first, or do you want me to?
You go ahead, because I think we're going to have conflicting, well, not conflicting, but I think I liked it more than most people liked it. I mean, I was just checking before we started this at the Rotten Tomatoes score, and even the audience score, was fairly low. We'll just say that. But
yeah,
my thing is I have kind of a thing with some movies. I kind of see where the director was kind of go, and in the back of my mind, there's kind of a appreciation that I have for that, where I see what he was trying to do, and then I can see where he was actually kept down from doing his vision. And we talked about this last time with Warner Brothers and how they love to just screw with everybody's projects. But you go ahead first and offer your opinion of Suicide Squad.
Well, I was trying to think of things to say about this movie, and frankly, there's not a whole lot to say. It's not that I hate the movie. I don't by any means hate it. I just don't like it very much. I think it's an okay movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's a good movie. I think it's completely unnecessary. I think the actors do the best they can for the most part, although, some of them are better than others. And I don't know David Ayer almost at all. I think he's done a couple of movies that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I think he wrote The Fast and the Furious, like the first one, which is like interesting because I love cars. I don't love cars. I like cars. I enjoy racing. I love action scenes in my movies. And I watched The Fast and the Furious, and it almost put me to sleep. So when a movie that's full of cars and action scenes puts me to sleep, there's probably something wrong. I think that David Ayer really wanted this to be his answer to Guardians of the Galaxy, which came out a few years before this. And I think that he failed epically. Because he's not James Gunn, and he's not as talented, or he doesn't have the sense of humor of James Gunn. And I think that this, several times in the movie, it looks like he's trying to evoke these Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, and they're falling on their face.
I kind of disagree with that. I think that, again, he had to make a movie in the Snyderverse, and it's easy to not make that, or to make that comparison. I was just looking up David Ayer and what let's see, what was I going to say, that his mood.
Yeah, so I looked it up.
He produced End of Watch. He did Suicide Squad.
I've never seen that.
He produced. Well, End of Watch was a good movie. He produced. He was a producer on Fury with Brad Pitt.
I never saw that either.
And he was. Let's see. He did The Beekeeper last year.
Never saw it.
He did Bright, which was that one with Will Smith and the orcs.
Yeah, I never saw it either.
Yeah. Okay. What about? Let's see.
I'm looking at his filmography now, and I don't think I've seen anything else.
Yeah. It looks it looks like he did a lot of producer stuff. Like Training Day. Did you ever see Training Day?
Never saw Training Day. He was a co-producer on that, and he wrote it. He did not direct it.
Right. But I mean, he's got. I mean, he's known. It's not like he's some
Yeah.
unknown guy.
No,
Maybe you don't watch the movies, but he's still,
no, I'm not saying that he's not like he definitely has a few directorial experiences under his belt. I just don't think he's the next James Gunn. And I think he was trying to be with this movie. I think he was really trying to make another Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, and as I mentioned before, yeah, when we did, I don't know if it's where we did Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. I just love saying that. Is the thing everybody wants. Apparently, there is an Ayer cut, just like there was a Snyder cut of Justice League. There's apparently an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad that at first was rumored, but I guess there has been a couple of people who have actually seen it. And I know people have been doing the whole release the Ayer cut because I think there's a lot of good qualities. I mean, it gave us Margot Robbie's Harley
Oh
Quinn.
yeah, yeah. And I do want to talk about the stars of this movie when we get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah,
Because yeah, Margot Robbie was good and Will Smith, and I have some things to say about that, definitely.
yeah.
So
I think
I'm
that
not sorry.
no, no. Go ahead.
I want to stress, I'm not saying that I don't like this movie. It's a movie that I would watch again if I was going to watch the entire DCEU. I'm not overly enthusiastic about watching the whole series again. So Suicide Squad kind of falls into that. It's not a movie I would feel excited to watch, but it's not a movie I would be like, oh, this is a steaming pile of crap. I'm going to skip it.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I did like it. I did enjoy watching it. Did I think there was some lame stuff? Yeah. Was it disjointed? Absolutely. And I think it's one of those movies, I guess what I'm saying is where when you look at it and you watch it, you can see if you're any type of, movie watcher, especially when it comes to comic book movies, you can see that, somebody kind of came in and was like, hey, listen, chop that out, move that. That doesn't need to be there, that type of thing. And then you get Suicide Squad, in my opinion. That's one of those movies where you can see that decisions were made. I mean, because with a background like that, even though you didn't see any other of David Ayer's stuff, the guy obviously has a strong, across a variety of genres, backgrounds of movies. And so, I
Oh
think
yeah,
when I remember when they announced it, it was like, ooh, and Ayers is doing it. And it's like, oh, it's going to be really good. And, that alone, I think, kind of is telling to like, hey, when it finally made it to the editing suite after they shot the movie, it was like, no, we need it to be, as we've talked about this entire time, it's like Warner Brothers always trying to catch up with Marvel and what they were
yeah.
trying to do, you
Yeah,
know?
and I don't know if it was David Ayer who wanted to do a Guardians type of movie, but it seems clear that someone did because the movie is, I mean, it seems obvious that it's really trying hard. They've got the
Well, they
music.
needed a team up movie. I don't know if they needed a Guardians movie. I know they tried to do jokes and they fell flat, which you can speak more to. But I think they needed, at the very least, they needed a team up movie at that point of an oddball bunch. So I guess, maybe you're
That
right.
is a
It's kind of,
Guardians of the
yeah, it's all
Galaxy.
right. All right, it's fine. Whatever. Just shut up. All right. So you're right. It is kind of Guardians-esque. I was thinking more of like the comedy and stuff, and I was just looking at the team up movie. But you're right. It is kind of
I
a
mean, it's a bunch of people who don't really work well together, coming together because they have to, and saving the world or the galaxy, as it were. And and I think Guardians did it phenomenally, and this one did not. And there's a number of reasons why I'm not a huge fan of this movie. I'm not saying again, it's difficult being in my position because I want to say the things about it that I do like, and at the same time, I don't want to sound, I don't want to say that I loved it because I did not, but I also don't want to. I want to be careful about how I'm criticizing it because I don't want it to sound like I'm like like I hate it. I
yeah.
think that there's more stuff that I dislike about the movie than that I like. But I've said before that when I rate a movie, what we're talking about here is not normally stuff that goes on in my mind while I'm watching the movie. When I say I like a movie, it's based solely on the emotional reaction I have watching the movie. So if
Right.
I'm sitting there and I'm completely lost in the movie and just having a great time, and then the credits roll and I'm just like, I had fun, then I say I like the movie. And if I'm looking at my watch and saying, is this movie almost over? I probably didn't like the movie. This is
Mm.
not a movie that had me looking at my watch, but it also wasn't one where it finished and I was like, "Oh, that was great." It was more like, "Okay, it was a movie."
Yeah. What did you think about? See, I liked the, even though it was still a little interesting. So you got to remember that this movie, this is post Superman
Right.
dying, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
so you got Amanda Waller, meeting with the guys. I like the intro to the characters. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool and a little bit
Uh,
different. And you could probably say you would say
well,
maybe Gunn-esque, but
yeah, that was
um,
actually the first thing. Like I told you, I took notes when watching this movie, this time, and that's the first thing I said. Those intros to the characters, it might as well have been, uh, uh, what's his name, Star-Lord and Rocket and Gamora. It might as well have been them. We got the different music playing for each person, and it's all pop music that is familiar to people, even if it isn't, current pop songs. I mean, we had "You Don't Own Me"
right. Yeah,
for
everybody
Harley
had their own little
Quinn, and
theme. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I
So,
liked it though. I liked them. I mean, you got a little bit on each one. I mean, I will say that on the flip side of that, I didn't like Diablo's character, right? And
mhm,
how he used it. He tells the story right there. How he basically um, killed his family
right.
with his power because he got too angry. Um, he was probably the only character that I really kind of felt something for a little bit.
Well, I think that was I mean, you were supposed to feel something for him, but I think we were supposed to feel something for all of them, and I didn't. Even
Yeah,
Harley Quinn, like I love the character. Harley Quinn is one of my favorite DC characters, not my absolute favorite, but um, one of my favorite characters, at least among villains in DC. And even her, and as good as Margot Robbie did, it's still in this movie. She was kind of one note. There was really not much to say about her. She's, you know, in love with the Joker, and that's it.
yeah.
Nothing else.
They didn't really. Yeah, they tried to, how she was his doctor and everything else. You get a little
Yeah.
quick thing of
Tiny bit
her,
of backstory,
tiny bit of
because
backstory. You get a quick glimpse of her, some fan service to the Batman the Animated Series, where you get her in the Harley Quinn costume
mhm.
and that little dance cut right there, because that's where Harley Quinn came
Yeah,
from, was from Batman the Animated Series,
yes,
and
yeah,
she's stuck. I mean, she's not like an original Batman character
no, and
by any stretch.
that's one of the things that's so interesting about the character of Harley Quinn is I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was something that I was going to say anyway, eventually in this show. Harley Quinn, for people who don't know, she was created in Batman the Animated Series, and she became so popular that she made a move into comics. This isn't unheard of, but it's not something that happens very often. Usually they're taking characters from the comics and putting them
Right.
into animated shows, movies, etc., but they start in the comics. There are very few characters that go the other way, but
Yeah.
Harley became so popular um, that now she's a main character.
Well, yeah.
uh, you
They
know,
they she ended up having her own film.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and not for nothing. I mean, we'll talk about it more as we get into the movie, but Margot Robbie really does a good job. Um, and there are very few people that I think could pull it off as well as she could. There are a few. I'm not saying she's the only person who could play that part, but she really killed it. Um, I guess we should talk about the cast because I mean, we're not going to go through the movie step by step. We're just going to
Right.
talk about what we liked. And as far as the cast goes, there's a lot of big names in there, but that's uh part of what like makes me stuck when I'm trying to think of things to say about the movie because there's so many big names, but none of them really feel as huge as they should be. So as far as the cast is concerned, I think that Will Smith does a pretty good job as Deadshot. He's probably one of the best actors in the movie, and I mean, who does like the best job. Then and Margot Robbie is the other person who does a really good job with the character as Harley Quinn is written. I just don't think that she's written overly well. Jared Leto, I don't really know what to say about him. I mean, the guy is weird as all hell. I I like his music. I've always liked 30 Seconds to Mars. I know he doesn't really like mixing the two, or at least I've never met him, but I've heard he won't get on a stage to perform in 30 Seconds to Mars if they bring up his TV or movie career and vice
Hmm.
versa. So, and I don't really get it, but whatever. I never watched what was the show he was on, My So-Called Life. Um,
Yeah, but Jared Leto is. I
he's been
see.
in some really good movies, and
Then
he
he's a
does
great. He's a
yeah,
great actor. Here's the thing: everybody gave Leto's Joker garbage, right? I
yeah,
mean, they all just gave him, they shit on it. And I was like, you know what? Every iteration of the Joker, I get that there's a perception everybody has, the clown prince of crime and all that other
yeah,
stuff, right? But the thing is every actor's made it their own in their own way. I mean, look at Heath Ledger in Nolan's Batman. He was more of a psycho, you know what I mean? But it's like I don't
yeah,
know. I didn't have a problem again in we're still calling it the Snyderverse in essence,
mm,
because it's all functioning within that is because you got Ben Affleck's Batman showing up.
yeah, yeah,
I think that his Joker was fine. He played it his own way, and I know everybody's like, "Where's the iconic laugh?" But then it's funny when we talk about these things, we look at it in hindsight. Like when the Snyder Cut came out, they went back and reshot that nightmare in, and Leto came back and did, his
yeah.
little Joker scene. And everybody's like, "Oh, it's so amazing." I mean, the biggest thing about it
I
is,
didn't think so.
well, but it got okay. It got more of a positive reaction in general, right?
Hmm.
But the thing is it's the same thing. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. It's like Hayden Christensen getting shit on for being Anakin, right? And then
Yeah,
like here we are years later, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" And I see all these videos on TikTok and Instagram where they're like, "Oh, Hayden's the best," and look at he got all this crap back then, but now he's getting all the love. And I was like, "Okay, like why couldn't we appreciate it back then?"
yeah.
And
I
I'm not saying he was the best. I'm just saying that Leto played Joker. He made it his own thing. I think he
yeah.
still kept the elements there. It worked for the environment that the world that was built. But I don't think he was as bad as everybody had to say about it. I thought there was some unique stuff that
I was
that he brought to it. Everybody's like, "Oh, his tattoos are weird," and blah
yeah.
blah blah. And I'm like, "Gosh, seriously."
Some of it, like I don't blame Leto. A lot of people like to blame him. I don't blame him because he didn't write the movie. And I've said this before about other characters and other actors in other movies. The big one that comes to mind, of course, is Kelly Marie Tran, who got so much crap for her portrayal of Rose Tico, and people were mad at her, like she wrote the character, even though she's just an actress.
Yeah,
I think
no,
she
no,
did
you're
really
right.
good with that part. Whether you like the part or not is irrelevant. Um, I don't think Jared Leto wrote this movie, and how he played the Joker is not necessarily my issue. I don't like the way the Joker is played in this movie because the Joker is my favorite DC villain. Okay, not my
He's a
favorite
lot. Yeah,
DC.
he's
My
a lot
my
of
favorite
people's.
DC character is not a villain, of course, but my favorite villain is the Joker for the same reason that my favorite villain in Marvel is Carnage, which is virtually the same character. And what I like about both of them is how scary they are because of their unpredictable nature. The Joker and Carnage both are the type of crazy people that they could walk down the street and a person could accidentally bump into them and they'll give him a menacing look and just continue walking because, you know, because they think that they've been set up to kill that person. So they'll just continue walking. Then they'll see someone minding their own business reading a newspaper and they'll kill them because they think it's funny.
Yeah.
That makes them terrifying. So I've always liked the Joker, and I don't like the way Jared Leto plays him. Again, not Jared Leto's fault. Just because in this movie they make him more like a gangster. He doesn't even seem crazy, other than he has like no care whatsoever what's right and wrong. It's almost like the Joker, as written in the comics, almost doesn't know right from wrong. He completely doesn't care. In this, he knows what's right and what's wrong, and he deliberately does what's wrong, not because he thinks it's funny, but because he wants to be seen as some kind of scary badass, and I just don't see it. I don't
Well, and
know.
like I said, but it again in the realm of the Snyderverse. I mean, it's sort of kind of, I mean, in a way, it fits. I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, it's Joker was more of a crime boss than he was just running his own gang and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
mean, that one scene where he's in a club and
yeah,
you
like
know,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah.
I mean, I again, there, I know that the scene is there to show how unpredictable the Joker is, but I don't know. It just seems almost, um, I don't even know what the right word is. It almost seems mean-spirited the way it was, that scene in particular. Like there was no way to win for the, what's his name? The guy who gets set up by him. The guy gives him a compliment by saying you're a lucky man
Yeah.
in reference to Harley Quinn.
He said, "That's a bad bitch. You a lucky
Yeah,
man."
yeah. And in return, the Joker, first he tries to pawn her off on him. And when
Yeah.
he says, like, I'm not going to disrespect you like that, then they make it like, what, she's not good enough for you? And he shoots him. And I'm like the guy's not someone to feel sorry about. He was some kind of gangster. So I don't feel bad for the guy. But at the same time, the whole sequence seems mean-spirited. It's not
Well, it's to
even,
show the psychoticness, because if
yeah.
anything, regardless, Joker's still a psycho.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think it didn't feel like he was being psychotic. I think it felt more like he was just being mean. Like I hate saying that word because it makes it sound like he's a bully, and I'm going, he hurt my feelings. That's not what I mean. It's just it doesn't seem like a Joker thing for him to do. It seems more like, hey, look at me, look how mean I am. You
Mm,
know,
yeah.
that was the sense, that was the vibe I got watching that scene, and I was just like, that's not the Joker. That's not a guy who does something because he
Well,
thinks it's
and
funny.
you're in kind of the majority with that, because that's how a lot of people felt, was just that
Yeah,
portrayal was completely off.
yeah. I didn't have a problem with the tattoos though. A lot of people did. I didn't really care.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't. I didn't.
Again, I think that it was the whole making him appear like a mob boss rather than a complete psychotic, whatever he is. I mean, the thing to remember about the Joker in the comics is that he doesn't have plans most of the time. He's just, I mean, I love the way Heath Ledger did it because he says it perfectly in his scene in the hospital with Harvey Dent, when he says, like, do I look like a guy with a plan? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know
Yeah.
what to do with one if I caught it. That's a very Joker thing. That's the way the Joker is. He doesn't plan that far ahead. He just does things, whatever seems funny to him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what about Enchantress? She's the one character where I was
Uh,
just like,
well,
I don't,
part,
I, you know,
yeah. Now, I will say I'm not very familiar with Cara Delevingne, but I get the impression that they thought she would be sexy, and she's not in that role. I thought she was better looking as Dr. June Moon. When she's Enchantress, first of all, of course, she's got the crap on her to make her look all haggard. But then when she when she gets the strength and she's got the robe on and she's like full power, she keeps moving around like she's doing walk like an Egyptian, doing this and like kind
Yeah,
of moving
it
around.
was,
And I
yeah.
was like, is that supposed to be sexy? Because it's not. It's not working at all. And I really don't know. And the other problem I had with the Enchantress is that she's the villain, and she's only a villain because of the Suicide Squad. This is part of the problem with the movie, is that the movie itself is its own enemy. I don't,
So
maybe other people feel differently.
you either die the hero
It,
or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Wait, wrong
no,
movie. Wrong
no, it's
movie.
not even that because first of all, that was done well, but also that's not what happens here. She never wanted to be the hero. She
No,
was
she
being
didn't.
forced. She was a bad guy being forced to work for Amanda Waller. As soon as she can, she gets away and starts, her nefarious plan to destroy the earth or whatever it is that she wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't
So
even know what she was building, but that's a whole nother,
yeah,
like,
but so the whole point is that this Suicide Squad has been set up by Amanda Waller to be able to stop horrible things from happening when the superheroes aren't available, or, even to
yeah.
stop the superheroes if they become the problem. That's why Amanda Waller takes these criminals and creates this gang of superpowered criminals. But in trying to create a Suicide Squad, we end up getting a villain. Like, big shock. So
Yeah.
it's like if she hadn't tried to build the Suicide Squad, Enchantress wouldn't have gotten free and there wouldn't have been a movie to begin with. So it's almost like this is just proving the Suicide Squad should not exist.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
yeah, I
that
didn't really thought
bothers
about it that
me.
way, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
That that bothers me because it's like I'm watching a movie that tells me it shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't necessarily reach that far, but I see what you're saying. What about
And I
Viola
also
Davis? Viola Davis is
I
Amanda
was
Waller.
about to say that. Yeah, I was about to say, I was about to bring up Viola Davis. I love Viola Davis.
Love
She's a
Viola
great
Davis.
actress.
Not
I hate Amanda Waller. I'm not talking about Viola Davis's version of Amanda Waller. I'm talking about the character in general. I hate her. I think you're supposed to hate her.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
no, she's horrible, but I don't know if Viola Davis can play a pretty cold person, but
yeah,
um yeah, but I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if she was, it
She
might
was
have been
totally
out of her
right.
depth. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it
Um,
was out of her depth. I think it was like one of those she was too overqualified for the position type of things. It's like I think that was a step down for her. But like, yeah, that Amanda Waller is, it's like
yeah,
we get the cold part of it, but we don't get the. I mean, to me, Amanda Waller has always come off as kind of, I don't know how to, in the comic book, she's like big and like kind of Kingpin esque, but on the government side, and always has her hands in all the
yeah.
different cookie jars. In Marvel, it was like in Thunderbolts, it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus's type of character. Same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Um, Alexandra, whatever it was
Whatever. Yeah,
in Marvel. Yeah, but
Countess something or
whatever.
other and something.
So, but
Yeah.
it's that type of a role, and but she does
I
have
think
her thing. But I think that, um, yeah, and
I,
yeah,
I think that Viola Davis is a good actress. I think this might have been beyond her or maybe just not right for her. My personal favorite live action person who has played Amanda Waller is Pam Grier, who played her in Smallville.
yes,
But
yeah.
that could also be because I'm a big like I don't know. Pam Grier is well, we're not going to go there, but
Yes, but yes, no, Pam Grier, yeah, yeah. Anyway, but the thing is, um, yeah, and I meant to mention it the last time we talked about it because I know we'll talk about Smallville and there's other things like the CW did a lot of DC stuff, and I think it's hard because you can develop a character like Amanda Waller, or you could develop any of these characters over time when you have a TV show, and it's like 2 hours 10 minutes, which I think is the running time for Suicide Squad. There's not a lot you can do um, with it. I mean, I thought it was kind of cheesy that since we're on the Amanda Waller thing, that the whole thing of her driving him into the city and having the Suicide Squad get to her was to get her out of a building
Yeah.
more
That
than
was
anything else.
that was the whole plan. That bothered me too. Like this whole plan was not to actually stop Enchantress. It was to get Amanda Waller out of a building.
Yeah.
And then once they get her out, now, oh, okay, well, I guess we should also stop Enchantress. What?
Yeah. Well, and I still don't know what I know we're kind of jumping around here, but like, I'm still trying to figure out what were they trying to build?
I
I
don't
think
know.
they reference a machine, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what machine are they even building? And if it's that big of a deal, where are Batman and Wonder Woman and the Flash in this whole thing, which we've talked about before? It's like some of these things are not just like localized. It's like, oh, this is going to destroy the entire planet. Maybe other people should show up, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
And they never do really address why not just, I mean, we know Batman is around. What, he didn't know this was happening? And also Wonder Woman, she's not doing anything. She's
well, and the
around.
Flash was in the movie because
And the Flash was
it's
in the movie for a second. Yeah.
yeah, because it shows him doing the whole Captain Boomerang backstory thing.
Yeah.
It's like where were they during that thing, especially since that city's being destroyed and people are being turned into those
And I don't,
black
sorry.
blobby little pus
Yeah.
pocket face people.
I don't want to be like one of those people that like in the Marvel universe, everyone's like, where were the Avengers during this? Where was the Avengers during this? Like the Immortals. It's a valid question. At the same time, I don't want to spend my time thinking about it. Like they were doing something else. But this is just something where it seems like such a huge thing that isn't localized. This is something that threatens life on Earth. Apparently, I
Right,
mean, it seemed like it.
right.
So what? But Batman's busy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it was just I mean, I think it was anticlimactic, and the whole thing of Jared Leto coming after Harley Quinn, it
Yeah.
was cool. The one character that I liked was El Diablo, and I kind of wanted to know more about the guy. Like, if out of any of the characters in the movie, he was the one I wanted to know the most about. And I was like, I wonder if he's going to get a standalone movie. You know what I mean? It would have been kind of cool. And I've seen other people who are like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool because he seemed to be the only one we all really kind of even cared about because there was a redemption arc to him that was not,
Yeah.
I mean, Will Smith wanted to see, Deadshot wanted to see his daughter more and, all that other stuff. But like the whole, maybe if it was I don't know. I'm trying to think about like what would have made, other than it was disjointed, I'm trying to think about what would have made the movie, the storyline a little more, I don't want to say epic, but
Well,
like,
one of the things that's weird about El Diablo is that he's such a side character in the comics. He's not
right.
some huge, well-known character. They kind of shoehorned him in there just to have someone with a tragic backstory so that they could kill him off. I mean, the rumor is that if there is an Ayer cut, he survived. So if there is an Ayer cut, I would, be interested in seeing it, especially in light of how different we're going to get into it in a few weeks, but how different Justice League was from the theatrical release to the
Right.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. Other than length, um, the movie is completely different.
Right.
It's almost like watching a completely different movie.
Right.
So if there's an Ayer cut, I'd be all for seeing it because I want to see what they did with El Diablo and see how he survives that. But yeah, he's a character that they just took out of nowhere. It's just kind of like why? And the same thing with Katana, who like
Oh,
what's there to
Katana.
say? What's there
Well,
to say about her?
that was like a throw in of like,
Yeah,
let's see if we could just pack another character in there. And
yeah, for no reason.
yeah, there was no, other than Rick Flag's like, this is Katana. She's got my back. And
Yeah.
her sword carries the souls of all the people that she's killed.
Yeah, but
And
like this is a character who actually has some stories in the
no,
comics
100%, 100%.
and they just shoehorned her in here and we barely know anything about her by the end of the movie and I don't think she came back in the sequel, right?
Um,
She was not in the Suicide Squad. She never showed
no,
up
I
again.
think the only one from that came back into the Suicide Squad
Margot
is
Robbie.
Margot Robbie and then Joel Kinnaman
Right.
I think
Right.
he came back, but then if I remember correctly, they killed him off.
Did they? I've only seen The Suicide Squad once. Um,
I'm going to say this right here, right now. I think the Suicide Squad was not as good as Suicide Squad that we're talking about right now. I'm just putting it out there. Anybody
I know
who,
a
I
lot of
mean,
people disagree, I
yeah, I
think.
100% disagree. And I totally can respect that. But like I said, I'm coming at it from the fact of like, it's the Suicide Squad. Like it should be like grittier and that type of thing. And, you know, I think that, I mean, I like this one better. Like I said, not because it was a better movie, but it's like, I don't know, the elements were there. I'm not saying the execution was right. I think we both agree that the execution of this movie, Suicide Squad, was not great.
Yeah.
But there were some good things that, to it, and you can obviously see like, oh, look, there's a lot of potential there, and it was enough for me to appreciate the potential to actually, be like, this movie wasn't too bad. But again, that's just me.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I've like I said, I've only seen The Suicide Squad once, so I don't even remember. I don't think I think I had similar feelings to that one as I did to this one, which was it's not a terrible movie, but it's not a great movie. It's complete middle of the road. It's an underachiever. Had
yeah,
lots of potential that didn't go anywhere. Um, it's like me in high school.
no, whatever. Jeez Louise, my Lord in
Um,
heaven. I'm cutting that out.
okay. So Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, another character that I mean, now this is a character that I'm not a huge comic book fan to begin with, so I don't have some kind of big attachment to the character,
Right.
but like nothing really stood out. He just like he could be anyone to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I like Joel Kinnaman.
I get this sense this could be completely wrong. And I might be about to embarrass myself because I have so little knowledge of the character in the comics. But I got the impression from some people talking about him that Rick Flag is almost like the DC version of Nick Fury. But
Yeah, I've heard that before too. And I think that's another, this brings up another point. It suddenly is making me think about that. I think that another issue with the movies, especially with the Suicide Squad, is I feel like if we go back to comparing Marvel and DC, there's more knowledge about the Marvel characters, even the lesser known ones, than there is about the DC characters, especially as you said like El Diablo, who's
yeah,
very much a side character, who they put in there, or the Katana. It's like these are characters that are probably worth exploring, and you just don't. They put them in there, and nobody knows anything about them at all.
yeah,
And then you get like a little bit of, you get a teeny weeny bit of backstory, but it's just none of it is enough for you to like get to know the character, be invested in the character, and
yeah.
be invested in whatever journey they're making.
Well, this will go back to what I said when I think all the way back when we were talking about Man of Steel. I think that Warner Brothers took a manual on how not to make a series of movies and followed it to the letter because they saw that Kevin Feige was doing such a good job with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they wanted the same thing, and they didn't think about how to do it. They just said, "Okay, do that." And so they already had Man of Steel, and then they said, okay, now we're going to do Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, and we're going to throw in Batman and Wonder Woman. Then we're going to do a Wonder Woman movie. I don't even think they were thinking about Suicide Squad. And then they immediately went to Justice League. So they skipped all of those movies. This movie might have worked if they had made a Harley Quinn movie and a Rick Flag movie and a Captain Boomerang movie and an El Diablo movie. And it might have worked because don't forget, um, before 2008, very few people cared about Iron Man. Like
Oh
he was
yeah.
a B-level character. He was
Yep.
like I remember as a kid seeing pictures of Iron Man and thinking he looks cool, but I don't know anything about him. And I was going to like learn about him because of how he looked in that suit of armor. But by the time I started reading about him, I'd kind of gotten bored and moved on. There was nothing to say. It was Kevin Feige's vision, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, and who made that movie? Who directed it?
John
What's
Favreau.
it? Yeah, John Favreau, who like their vision is what put Iron Man into this A-list superhero that he is now, thanks to that movie and the whole series that came out of it.
Oh yeah,
Um, and so again, if they took some of these B-rate characters from DC, DC has just as many characters as Marvel does,
yeah,
but everyone always focuses on the big three.
right, exactly.
And not for nothing, my favorite, I've already alluded several times to him. My favorite villain in DC is the Joker. My favorite character in all of DC is Superman. I'm a huge Superman fan, and I have been since grade school.
Yep, you have.
But, there's so many other characters that they could. I mean, even looking at Justice League, they had a Man of Steel. We never got a Batman movie. We got Batman versus Superman, but we never got a Batman movie. There's Wonder Woman. We never got an Aquaman movie until after the Justice League. We didn't get a Flash movie until after the Justice League. We never got a Cyborg movie at all. All
Right.
of these should have happened before Justice League.
Yeah, but as we talked about before, they were playing catch up. Warner
Yeah,
Brothers was playing catch up, and it was
rather
like,
than playing the long game, which was what Kevin Feige did.
right,
And Kevin Feige did it right. And
yeah,
Warner Brothers doesn't seem to know what to do with themselves. They just follow whatever Kevin Feige does. They made an Avengers movie. Okay, let's do an Avengers movie. Well, they did all these other movies first. Well, we can't wait that long.
yeah, exactly. And no, and yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's rushing. I think you could say that. I mean, the entire DCEU
Yeah,
was just a big rush job and throwing things out there. And I mean, we can,
exactly.
like, we'll get to Aquaman, we'll get to Wonder Woman. Wonder
Mhm.
Woman was good. Aquaman was good. Um, but yeah,
But then
yeah,
they had
they rushed to
yeah.
these what?
No, nothing.
No.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but you're right. They did rush everything because why do a standalone movie for some of these characters when you can throw all of them in Batman versus Superman, you know?
that's why I'm so hopeful about the new DC universe being led by James Gunn, because James Gunn is a smart guy who knows what he's doing. Even for those of you who are listening who don't like the new Superman movie, um, and I've already raved about it. I loved that movie, but I also am hopeful about the future of the DCU because he seems to know what he's doing. I think they've already announced it's not the Batman that is in the DC universe is not going to be the Robert Pattinson version, even though I loved that version of the Batman, that
Hmm.
movie,
Yeah.
because like it or hate it, that movie was the most true to the original comics of Batman. A lot of people like to talk about the Michael Keaton movie. Michael Keaton's movie was a return to what Batman was originally after what he had become in the 60s. He became this
Right.
lighthearted guy who came out during the day. He was never like that. Michael Keaton's always had him at night. It was a lot darker movie, but he was still as the Riddler sometimes calls him, he was a thug. He would beat up bad guys, and that was it. The But Batman's original comic book was a detective story,
Right.
and so the Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, was the best portrayal of the original character as he was written. Um, and I loved it, but and I'm now falling down a rabbit hole, so you can
You
cut some of
are?
that.
Yeah, I will.
Um,
So, yeah. And I
but
was going to say, well, now I won't say it because we're going to cut that. So,
Yeah, but just to sum it up, they've already said that Robert Pattinson's Batman is not going to be in the DCU. They're going to have a different guy playing the Batman. I don't know how, like, if James Gunn is going to make it more cartoony because that might not work for the Batman, but he seems to know how to shift between serious and cartoony. The Superman movie was a bit cartoony, but it really worked because Superman is almost comically good. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I've always loved Superman because of that.
Hmm.
I love the fact that he sees the good in everyone. So every scene that people are saying he's weak because he cares so much, and I'm like, then tell me that you don't know anything about Superman, because that's him. The fact that he saves a squirrel is quintessential Superman. That's exactly what Superman is.
Yeah.
Not Henry Cavill's let's let people die in the buildings behind me. I'm going to pose in front of the truck. That's not Superman.
So back to Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Thank you. You got to save me from myself. I need my own Suicide Squad.
All right. So what do you got for notes that you
Well,
that you s-
for the most part, the notes that I had, we've already talked about. My biggest note was that it attempted to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but it failed in almost every way. The only other thing I wrote about the different characters. We still have a couple more to talk about, and the fight scenes, which, like, how do you make a fight scene boring? But watch Suicide Squad and you'll find out how, because I was watching it a few days ago to kind of ready myself for this, and even the fight scenes were kind of like flat angle, nothing really interesting. It was kind of like just waiting for it to end.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
for
I mean, the
me,
fight
that's a big
scenes.
thing. For me, that's a big thing because usually I love fight scenes because they're action packed. But this one, it was just like, let's move on. Let something
Yeah.
important happen.
Yeah. Well, I think that the fight scenes were a little like it was the guys they were fighting against. I mean, I don't I those weird soldiers that they don't explain much of anything, and you got
Yeah.
Harley Quinn beating him up with a baseball bat. I was like,
Yeah, and their
okay.
heads kind of explode into like crystal shards for some reason.
Yeah,
And
and and I mean, you got Deadshot doing dead shots on them all, with his
yeah,
little wrist gun,
yeah. They
which was
tried to,
cool.
yeah, and like I said, Deadshot was portrayed well because of Will Smith's performance. He was doing a really good job with a character that didn't give us a whole lot. But then we got Captain Boomerang, who's just, kind of a dick as always. I mean, he's supposed to be, but he doesn't bring anything to the movie.
Yeah, yeah. There were some wasted characters.
Yeah,
I
same
mean,
thing with Killer
definitely.
Croc. Killer Croc can be a really interesting character. And
Yeah,
I don't know how to say his name. Adewale.
I wasn't even gonna try, but
I have no idea how to say his name.
I
But
thought Killer Croc was cool. I mean,
I didn't think he was. First of all, I couldn't understand what he said. I had to have subtitles because I couldn't understand him. And like,
turn your hearing aids up next time. I'm just kidding.
and it's not that. His voice was all
No, you're right.
distorted.
It was difficult
And on
to
top of that,
understand.
he like the way he talks and the things he says is just he makes it sound like he's another gangster. He would
Yeah,
fit right in with Diablo's gang, El Diablo's gang. He's
yeah,
like, when someone says he's ugly and he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm beautiful." And I'm like, "Yeah, all you need is an earring and a Bloods jacket." Like,
yeah. He's definitely not the Killer Croc from the
he's
comic
not
books
killer.
at
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
at all.
my
I
favorite
mean,
my favorite Killer Croc like portrayal is in the Batman Arkham series,
hmm,
especially in Arkham Asylum, the first of those games.
yeah,
I loved how Killer Croc was portrayed in that game.
hmm,
And this
yeah,
was not Killer Croc. He almost seemed like a gangster who, had alligator crocodile skin and apparently could breathe underwater.
right, yeah. Well, he was. I felt it was a little Ninja Turtle esque.
But if you want to talk about a character that is completely wasted, then they threw in Slipknot.
Oh, I know. I was like, oh wow. Oh,
They're
he's
really,
gone. Like,
yeah. He
I
didn't
was
do
like,
anything.
yo,
He climbed up a building for about 2 seconds.
yep, yep. He got up there and they exploded his head. I mean, he was merely there as an example.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he heavily marketed in the trailer?
I don't know if he was heavily marketed,
I
but
don't remember now.
yeah, I don't remember either.
But
Um,
yeah, it almost reminded me of, and this I definitely know, when Scream came out and top billing went to Drew Barrymore.
no, I know. Yeah, I know.
I
I know.
understand marketing. I have taken marketing courses in college. I know why they put Drew Barrymore at top billing of Scream.
Sure.
But then you go to see Scream and she's dead in 5 minutes and she doesn't come back.
But it's still an iconic performance
Oh,
that's
yeah,
talked
yeah,
about
yeah.
to this day.
Of course. And it also introduces Scream, which is at least the first movie was really good. I'm not a big fan of the ones that came after it, but the first movie was really good for, and very influential.
Oh, 100%.
Changed the
It
face of
changed.
horror movies.
Right.
And it all began with Drew Barrymore's performance and death scene. But still, she got top billing in a movie that she appears for. I
Yeah.
think
I don't
the
know. I'd have
total
to go
amount of
back and
time is like I don't know, 10 minutes total.
yeah, I need
Less
to
than
go
10
back
minutes.
and check on how I don't remember how honestly how heavily
I don't remember. I
yeah,
remember
marketed he
when
was.
when the trailers came out, I know that they showed they showed a shot of Harley Quinn and it said Harley Quinn, and then a shot of Deadshot and it said Deadshot. And I don't remember if there was a shot of Adam Beach and it said Slipknot. I don't know if they said that or if maybe I just heard it and people were like, "Ooh,
I have to
Slipknot's
go
in
back
it."
to YouTube and like look up some of the older trailers
Yeah,
and see how it
but
was. But
I
you
did
know,
know going into the movie, I knew Slipknot was in it, and I'm not even a huge fan, but I knew who Slipknot was, and then he showed up and he died.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. With less of an impact on the movie than Drew Barrymore's character was in
Yeah,
setting up the whole Scream movie, which
yeah,
totally set it up.
yeah,
Like I said, he just was in there as, ooh, look, Slipknot. And he was just merely an object lesson of
yeah,
like, yeah, you screw with me, I'm gonna blow up your brain with my little
yeah,
thing on
yeah.
My Bluetooth exploding
She had that
neck
gigantic
things.
tablet on her wrist, that,
I know.
and no one thought, let's destroy that thing.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's crazy.
And
I don't get it. What else do we need to talk about with this movie?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm
that's the thing.
like,
Like
I'm
that,
literally this podcast episode is just to do it because we did it, and I'm
yeah.
like,
There's so little to say about this
it
movie.
really is. Believe me,
It's
I
not
was
that
trying to like, yeah,
it's not that it's a bad movie. It's just not a good movie.
right.
It's
No, I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I liked it a
it's
little better than that, but um,
it's just I feel like it's unnecessary. And maybe that's because I don't like bad guys being portrayed as heroes when they're still bad guys. And they don't really progress to hero ever in this movie, other than the fact that they stop the bad guy. They're still who they are. Harley Quinn is still an extremely psychotic
yeah,
murderer,
yeah.
and there's no sign that she's going to stop being that. Deadshot is going to still be in prison, and he's probably still going to be Deadshot, even though now he has time to tutor his girl
But
and
that's
teach her how to shoot at people too.
right. But that's the point of the Suicide Squad movie. There was never a hero redemption arc. It was definitely anti-hero at
Yeah,
best,
yeah,
if
but I
not
don't want to
just
root for them. But I don't want to
yeah.
root for villains.
I mean, I rooted for Heath Ledger's Joker, but he didn't win.
Really? I
No, I'm
didn't.
kidding. I'm kidding. But he was at least a rootable character, a root
I,
forable character.
I didn't think he was someone I would ever root for, but he was interesting. His performance alone is better than this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Him standing there on screen doing a little aura farming was better
Oh,
than
the pencil trick,
let me
the
show you a magic
disappearing
trick.
pencil, the pencil trick in The Dark Knight was better than this whole movie. And that's not to say that this movie was terrible. It's to say that the pencil trick was absolutely incredible.
Dude, I feel like when you say stuff like that, it's like almost like you're gaslighting because you're like, I'm not saying this movie's horrible, but taking my dog out and watching him whiz in the yard is better than this movie.
No, no,
So in
I'm
other
not
words,
saying
you're
that.
saying that this movie
That
is
one scene,
horrible.
no, I'm saying that that scene is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the scene everyone talks about. Well, not maybe not anymore, but when the Dark Knight first came out, I saw it like opening day. A friend of mine, this guy who is just as much into comics as anyone I've ever met, we talked about it the next day, and all he wanted to talk about was the pencil scene
Mm. Yeah.
because that was how we saw how completely crazy Heath Ledger's version of the Joker is, and that's why it's so in line with the comics,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
So I don't know what they're gonna do, or I don't know what they were planning to do with this, or if they were gonna do more Suicide Squad movies,
Well,
if they
yeah,
were
I
gonna
was
bring
reading
them
that
in.
they were going to make the Suicide Squad, but Ayer left the project and went on to try and do another. What did it say he did? I think it was like a Angels of Gotham thing that ended up getting canceled. I think it was a TV show,
Hmm.
or something like that, and so they never made. I mean, they made the Suicide Squad, but it was completely different than the other one. So.
Yeah, so I don't know what their plan was. I don't know how much of it happened. All I know is that all we ever got from it was the Suicide Squad, which we'll have to get to pretty soon, I guess. But the next movie, unless there's anything else you want to talk about with this movie, I think
Not
we can.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
So then the next movie in the DCEU is Wonder Woman, which we will be discussing next week. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. We will discuss it next week. If you haven't already done so, please hit like and subscribe. And anything else to add, Bob, before we sign off?
No, that's it.
Okay, well
Thanks
then,
again for having me on the show, Josh.
I'll see you next week
Yes.
when we talk about Wonder Woman. And we'll see y'all there. And in the meantime, always remember, make tomorrow better than yesterday.